Come on, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Hey guys, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite movies, and today I'm going to redo the best movies list of both 2017 and 2018. And the reason being is that I realized that the list for 2017 is a little messed up, so I would like to make a more improved version, and same goes for 2018. Actually, 2018 is a shitty year for movies. There aren't that many great movies in that year, and that's why my list was a little messed up. And now I'm going to patch it, and this is going to be my final verdict. Let's go. So let's start off with 2017. At number 15, it's SpiderMan Homecoming, because this is the first Spider-Man movie in the MCU, and it's surprisingly okay. Tom Holland did a great job, Robert Downey Jr. did a great job, and it's a fairly entertaining MCU movie that's probably the most relatable, because Peter Parker is a pretty relatable character who studies in high school. The plot twist is cool, the villain is amazing, Michael Keaton did a great job, and that Childish Gambino character is pretty funny as well. After that, at number 14, is Wind River. I've talked about it. It's a pretty cool movie that has a lot of heart. And then at number 13, it's a controversial one. It's so weird of a movie, I don't want to put it in the top 10, but again, it's actually really well shot. It's Mother by Darren Aronofsky, and I will not say anything beyond that. Afterwards, it's The Shape of Water. It won Best Picture, and I think it's a pretty decent movie as well. It's not great. I think the plot is a little flawed, but still, the premise is very unique, and Guillermo del Toro really brings this grotesque beauty into the silver screen very beautifully, and I just really appreciate it. And then after that, it's A Ghost Story, which is a really special artsy indie movie by A24, I think. It stars Casey Affleck, and the performances in this movie, it's amazing. But also, it's not really a movie about ghosts. It's not really a horror movie. It's actually a really emotional movie that's really thought-provoking. And I really like how unique and artsy this movie is. At number 10, I know it's another MCU movie, but I really love it, and I have to put it in the top 10. It is Thor Ragnarok. Taika Waititi really revived Thor. Thor 1 and 2, they're okay, but they're not great. They still feel kinda cheesy and very outdated, but Taika Waititi's Thor Ragnarok is a total 180-degree turn, making Thor way more colorful and interesting. And with Hulk in the movie, it's even more fun and even more entertaining, and it's been a very, very long time since I've seen such a colorful and entertaining MCU movie. Yeah, and overall, this movie left a really strong impression on me. And at number 9, it's Baby Driver by Edgar Wright. It's a more commercial turn of things by Edgar Wright, but still, it is really, really entertaining. Not only are the musical choices amazing, and the action sequences, the car chases, the way they sync up with the music is fantastic. The cast is stellar. John Hamm is amazing. Of course, Ansel Elgort is amazing. Everyone else is amazing as well. And overall, it's a really exciting movie. At number 8, Get Out by Jordan Peele. Yes, I've talked about it. While there are flaws here and there, it's not a perfect horror movie. It's not a perfect thriller movie, and Jordan Peele's directing can be better, but everything else about the movie seems kinda good, actually. Not only is the plot kinda interesting, it sorta looks at the racial problem in the USA in a light-hearted but at the same time scary light, and I kinda like that. Also, it's a pretty solid thriller movie, and a really solid debut for Jordan Peele, directorial debut, that is. And then at number 7, it's The Disaster Artist, which is a biopic for Tommy Wiseau, who made a classic movie called The Room. It's fantastic, and this movie is about him. and it has a lot of heart. It doesn't just make fun of Tommy Wiseau, but it actually sort of shows that Tommy Wiseau doesn't just give up easily, and he has a passion. He's just not good at what he likes doing. Anyway, number 6, it's Split by M. Night Shyamalan. I was actually very, very impressed because M. Night Shyamalan had made a few trash movies. And then we have Split, which is fantastic. I enjoyed almost every single minute of the movie, even though it's not perfect, even though it's not grandiose or ambitious or anything, but it's really entertaining. Just James McAvoy's performance as 4 or 5 different characters alone is enough to put this movie on the list. And yeah, it's just really interesting. And the ending, the twist is insane. Next level twist. Anyway, here's the top 5. Number 5, I have to give it to Dunkirk by Christopher Nolan. Yeah, I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan, so, you know, of course he's going to be on the list. But, yeah, even though a war movie should be way more violent and bloody and gory than that, but what's special about this movie is that Christopher Nolan is trying to be artsy in this movie. I can really tell. And he tries to, instead of creating a plot and these characters, all he wants to do in the movie is to give us an experience and tell us what it's like to be in the middle of a war in a really intense situation. And overall, this movie left a very strong impression on me, even though there isn't a specific plot, there aren't any specific important characters, but it's the experience that matters. And also, great score by Hans Zimmer, fantastic. At number 4, you know the answer, War of the Planet of the Apes. It is a great and dramatic ending to the trilogy, and it's heartbreaking. At number 3, I put this movie way high up in the list now because it is indeed a fantastic movie, an underrated movie indeed. It's 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri by Martin McDonagh. And it is a dark comedy done well. There are a lot of characters, and different characters have different relationships. It's like a small Game of Thrones where there are a bunch of characters in different places, and they all have their own thing, and they all just meet up at some point in the story. But even though the story, the movie is very violent and brutal and gritty and kind of ugly at some points, but the ultimate concept of the movie is anger begets anger, and instead of trying to get revenge on someone, what you should actually do is to just calm down and assess the situation. And this movie makes a really good point. But yeah, still, I am surprised at how entertaining this movie is, and there are a lot of really well-written scenes here and there, and the performances, they are one of a kind. I've never seen Sam Rockwell do such a role like that, and Frances McDormand is just fantastic. At number 2, Denis Villeneuve with Blade Runner 2049. It's no surprise that this movie will be so high up on this list. It is a breathtaking movie. It's breathtaking. Just the cinematography alone by Roger Deakins is enough to put this movie on this list because it's so colorful, so beautiful, and it might actually be even better than the original Blade Runner because it has a lot of heart, it has a lot of depth, it really makes you think, and overall it's just an extremely surreal experience. Denis Villeneuve really did Blade Runner justice here. And of course, number 1 is Logan by James Mangold. Basically the best movie in the entire X-Men series franchise ever. It's R-rated, it's gritty, it's violent, and it's extremely depressing. Logan is dying, and Professor X is dying. There isn't the youthful, fun excitement that X-Men movies used to have. In fact, the entire movie is just one really depressing, tragic story with a couple of really heartfelt and painful moments. And these moments are heroic, but is it though? So I really love this movie. an extremely realistic take on the superhero genre. It defies the genre, and it's just so depressing and so powerful. You know what? Just go watch the movie yourself. Now I'm gonna talk about 2018. I am almost running out of time. I have to go to school later. Anyway, at number 15, it's The Incredibles 2, which is a pretty faithful follow-up to The Incredibles. It kind of plays safe, and that's it. 14, it's Green Book. It won the Best Picture, and I think it's good. I'm actually kind of surprised because none of the scenes in this movie feel boring to me. Every single scene feels great, and the chemistry between, I forgot the name of the characters. Oh no, between Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali, the chemistry is fantastic. And yeah, I just really love the warm ending and the warm message that this movie has. At number 13, it's a really special movie. It's Searching, where the entire movie takes place in social media. And there's the main plot, and there's actually a secret plot beneath. And I think that's a really cool concept. And overall, even though the whole movie takes place on a computer screen, it's still really entertaining and it still hooks you in. And you get to piece the little clues together like pieces of puzzle, and it's pretty brilliant. At number 12, I'm giving it to Upgrade, which is a very entertaining and flashy action movie with some crazy camera movements. And at number 11, this is another really artsy movie with a pretty special aspect ratio. It's First Reformed by Paul Schrader, starring Ethan Hawke, who gave a hauntingly painful performance. And this movie is extremely somber. It's actually really dark and really disturbing. The color palette is very pastel and dull. And in a way, this movie is kind of a slow burn. But again, it has a lot of pain carried in it and a lot of complex emotions. Here's the top 10. Usually I don't put documentaries onto this list, but this documentary is so good and so touching. It's Won't You Be My Neighbor, which is a documentary about Mr. Rogers, because he is a fantastic person. He's a great man who loves every single person in this world. And we should really be like him, and we need more people like him. And oh boy, it's raining. I'm screwed. Anyway, at number 9, it's A Quiet Place by John Krasinski, which is another really impressive directorial debut by a comedic actor, because he's in The Office, so I guess he's comedic now. But really, every single comedian tries to do something scary and dramatic once in a while to prevent the comedic label from manifesting in their name. And John Krasinski really delivered it with a solid thriller movie with a really simple premise, but a lot of extremely suspenseful scenes, like extremely. So yeah, the movie is really well done, and I like it. After that, at number 8, it's BlacKkKlansman. I really, really loved it the first time I saw it, but now I didn't like it as much, I have to say. I have to admit. But still, nonetheless, it's a pretty good movie that's actually really entertaining, and again, it looks at the racial problem of the USA in a really lighthearted fashion, and in a way that brings humor. Spike Lee's the director here, and he really did direct some cool scenes. After that, at number 7, it's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. No joke, this is one of the most entertaining cartoons of the decade, because it is, how do I even explain it? It's a Spider-Man cartoon, but there are multiple Spider-Mans. There are so many different Spider-Mans. And they all come together to fight one big villain, and it's just really, really entertaining. And the animation, the style of the animation of the thing is just very youthful and full of life. I really like it. But, what I really love about this is that Spider-Man isn't really the main character here. I mean, I'm talking about the Miles Morales Spider-Man. He is the one who's struggling to be Spider-Man. And so, this is a pretty interesting movie. Yeah. At number 6, it's Hereditary by Ari Aster, because this is one of the best thriller movies. Actually, horror movies. Let's upgrade that to a horror. One of the best horror movies of 2018. It is more disturbing than it is scary, but when it is scary, it is scary. And also, I just really love the very still and silent shots. They just cook up a lot of tension. And when it gets violent, when it gets bloody, it's really serious. So this movie really messes you up. And also, there are a lot of shots in this movie where the character stands in front of the camera, and in the far distance, in the corner of the room, a weird human figure sort of creeps up. And those shots are really fucking scary. At number 5, Mission Impossible Fallout. It is a solid meat and potatoes, amazing action movie. The first 2 acts is pretty solid, pretty amazing. Meat and potatoes, my gosh. Hereditary is messing me up. But the last act, wow, the last act is insane. It just pushes and pushes and pushes and pushes, and until the very end, it pushes once more. It's so intense, so suspenseful, so entertaining. You're biting your nails on the edge of your seat. And I don't get it. Tom Cruise, he's insane. At number 4, Barry Jenkins is back with If Beale Street Could Talk. And it's a really emotional, really moving and powerful movie as well, with some real great performances. Anyway, number 4, it's Roma by Alfonso Cuarón. This is an ultra-realistic movie about Mexico City in the 70s and the things that happened around a family. And it's really, really realistic. There are a lot of long-winded scenes and long takes where the characters, they just do their own thing. They just talk normal stuffs. They just do normal things. But this family actually goes through a lot of struggle later on in the movie. And Alfonso Cuarón really knows how to depict it in the most humane way possible. And it's a really spectacular movie, and you can tell that Alfonso Cuarón really put a lot of heart into the movie, because it's basic, and this movie values family, and it's really powerful. At number 2, you know what it is, it's Avengers Infinity War, because not only is this one of the most anticipated movies of the year, and it does deliver. It doesn't disappoint. It does deliver. The action scenes here, the fights between Thanos, they are like life and death. Quite literally life and death. It's just because, you know, if Thanos wins, half the universe basically dies. And that's some serious shit there, man. And what I'm really impressed with the movie is that the Russo brothers managed to arrange all the characters in the MCU in such a way that it isn't a huge mess. In fact, it is a really entertaining movie with a lot of progression and with tons and tons of great scenes, but also emotional scenes that crushes your heart. And the ending of the movie, it just totally flips you 180 degrees. But my number 1 movie of 2018 is The Favorite by Yorgos Lanthimos. Yes, my favorite movie of the year is The Favorite. And for many reasons. First of all, I think this is Yorgos Lanthimos' most commercial and ambitious movie by far. But yet, at the same time, he doesn't lose his style. In fact, he reinforces his style with even more idiosyncratic cinematography. And what's really special about this movie is that it is a period piece, but it is also a comedy movie. So it takes itself, not that it doesn't take itself seriously, but it doesn't take history too seriously. It's historically accurate, but it's not a serious movie. Not at all. Not only is the cinematography amazing, the art direction amazing, the props, they are insanely beautiful and good. The performances are great as well, but also the hidden message behind this movie. What's this movie is really about. it's thought-provoking, actually. The ending is actually really thought-provoking, because if you think about it, would you rather have happiness or would you rather have power? And usually people would go with power at first until they realize that they're unhappy with all that power. And this movie really illustrates that really well. And yeah, it's just a very artsy, stylistic movie that's both very entertaining but also meaningful. So here's the list of best movies of 17 and 18. Like if you like them, subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching. Bye.